2020 landslide, Q Army. Let's get ready for some booms, guys. You guys ready? Let's do it. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. Where we go one, we go all, folks. Fight, 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 and that's what we do every day on the Matrixxx Groove Hour, folks. Today we have a very special guest here today with us. We've got Jo Rae Perkins for U.S. Senate conservative, constitutional conservative Republican, wife, mother, grandmother, patriot, pro-life, Second Amendment. She wants to reunite Oregon, and I know my partner in justice is very excited. Shady, come on in here.
Man, I am extremely excited to have a potential Senate candidate running for Senate in America who is extremely Q-centric. She understands all this stuff, man, and I think this is going to be a hot show.
Yes, absolutely. And, why don't you introduce our guest and bring her on in, Shady?
Jo Rae Perkins, Senate candidate from Oregon. Hey, how are you? Good to see you again.
Good morning, Shady.
And there she is right there for everybody.
Good morning, Matrixxx.
Hello, hello. So I want to just the reason why I found out about you is the Media Matters article. And if Media Matters says, hey, there's Q people that actually support QAnon or follow Q are running for Senate, and they had a big list, I'm like, hey, there's my list. What do you think of that?
I know, isn't that awesome?
We gotta follow.
Right? That was awesome. That was actually great press for you. And obviously, us Anons, we need to vet and do that. And that's a great reason, another great reason why you're here on the show today. Jo Rae, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I will do that. So I live in Albany, which is, for people who aren't familiar with the geographic layout of Oregon, I'm 60 miles south, just over 60 miles south of Portland, and about 45 miles north of Eugene. A little over an hour from the coast, and a little over an hour from snow skiing. So we're right in between the Cascade Mountains and the Coast Range. We have lived in Oregon since 1975. My husband George is amazing. We are coming up on our 42nd wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, I met him when I was 16 going on 17. So pretty cool. And we've got 2 kids, and they're combined blended families. There's 14 grandchildren.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
that sounds like a great family there. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love it at Christmas time. We've got 21 stockings across the mantle. If people add that up real quick, if they're like these math wizards, they'll go, wait, that's only 20. My 93-year-old mother-in-law lives with us as well.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And my background, I at one point held 6 different investment licenses in the securities industry and had my own financial planning firm. And then the market took a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Hussein got elected, and people were losing their jobs left and right. And anyway, so I went back to school and got my degree in political science.
Wow, excellent.
With a minor in speech communication. So that's a little bit about me.
Wow, excellent. And so, you had your letter. We actually read your letter for you running, and I noticed it was on January 17th. I'm sure that was a coincidence.
That was a coincidence, and we actually were supposed to release it that day on the 17th.
Okay.
And I didn't release it until the 22nd, but it was at about 2:30 in the morning that I went online to the Oregon Secretary of State Elections Office, formally withdrew from the U.S. House Congressional District 4 race, withdrew from there, turned around and refiled for the U.S. Senate race, and then did the same with the Federal Elections Commission.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
Took a little bit of time to get that done, but it actually, but there are no coincidences.
No, and you actually used on your Facebook "Where we go, one we go all," and that really triggered a lot of people.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it is awesome.
One of my team members said, you should explain some of these acronyms, so that's why I put equals, where we go one, we go all.
That's awesome.
So,
and I'm showing
yeah.
your Facebook page right now, and I showed your press release, and it said press release #Perkins for U.S. Senate 2020 #Oregon, and where we go one we go all equals where we go one we go all. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So I guess the next question that everybody would like to, and please guys, put your questions in. The mods will grab them and put them in Discord for us. We've got 487 people watching now. That will build up to over 1,000, Joe Ray,
Awesome.
and we don't actually believe those numbers, by the way. We think it's a lot more. So you're going to get some really good coverage today, and we are honored to have you here. When was your, I guess, Great Awakening?
Which one?
Which one? Okay, so you've been like me. I was actually kind of awake before Q, right? I had questions that were never really answered correctly. So what's your journey, and then how did you understand Q? When did you kind of come into Q? Maybe just a little bit of that, because it's amazing that we actually have somebody that follows Q, because all the people do is say Q's a LARP, Q's this, Q's that. It doesn't matter, in my opinion, who Q is. It's the questions and the answers that we come up with that are the biggest thing in my eyes. What's your opinion, and when did you start following Q? Just your Q story, maybe.
Okay, the Q story. So right around November 20th of 2017, one of my friends had a YouTube video, and this goes back to Lavoy Finicum, because I had God works in mysterious ways, and so I'll start with there because it brings us up to here. So some friends asked me if I was going over to the rally in Baker City. Again, if you don't know the geographics, the geology and the terrain of Oregon, that is at least 5 hours from me, and it was February, and I drive a Corvette. I'm not driving my Corvette over the pass in the snow. And I was running for the U.S. House at that time, and that area is not in the district, and so why would I go? So anyway, so then I heard, so they went over there, and then I heard, all these people ended up going to the Malheur Wildlife Refuge. So I contacted my friends. They said, no, we came back. We didn't know what was going on. So I started following what was happening and ended up in this huge Patriot group. Well, I already knew things were not right prior to that. You have that in your intro, Matrixxx, that we knew something was wrong. We knew something wasn't quite right. Mm-hmm. What is it? We know there's something going on, and we couldn't quite put our fingers on it. But that Lavoy Finicum thing, when we saw him get assassinated, it was a huge awakening to a whole lot of people, because they saw the video, and the video is ingrained in my brain. I watched it so many times, and to analyze it, because I can be very analytical, and so I was being extremely analytical at that time of really looking and looking at all the sides of the story. So that was my starting to wake up. Okay, so then that brings me to November of 2017. A friend of mine is doing a live video, and she was did a lot of stuff on Lavoy Finicum, and just at the end of the video, somebody just put the letter Q. That's kind of odd. Well, I don't go onto the general newsfeed a whole lot. I'm usually posting on my page, reading comments, etc. Well, because I was on the general newsfeed to watch Kelly's video, I turned that off. The video's done. And another friend of mine who lives in Long Island, New York, she posts, if you know about Q, get a hold of me. Oh, that's really weird. Again, what are the coincidences that I would see the letter Q and seconds later see Karen's post? I mean, it's just weird. That's why I'm saying God works in mysterious ways. So I copied, pasted, sent it off to Karen, and she said, I've been meaning to get a hold of you. You need to know about Q, because you're running for Congress, because you're a Christian. Eddie and I have researched Q. This is 100% legit. She's an author. She does research on our nation, on the history of our nation, the founding fathers and everything. And she's a pretty amazing person. And so November 20th, I started following Q of 2017.
That's amazing. Born Deplorable 7684 wants to know, are there any other Q Patriots running for office in Oregon? Do you know?
I haven't seen one.
Okay.
I haven't seen any be obvious. I ask a lot of people if they follow Q, and I'm surprised at the people that follow Q.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, my campaign manager, when I ran for the U.S. Senate race 6 years ago, she was on watching you guys yesterday morning. Leilani, I don't know if you're there. She wasn't sure if she's gonna be able to tune in this morning or not. And so anyway, so that was fun.
I hope she's here. Hello, hello.
Yeah. So that was awesome. And her husband, by the way, is in the military.
Excellent. That's excellent. So
Isn't that awesome?
So another one, is it Brown from the Capitol? Who's Brown? Is that
Kate Brown. Oh.
Yep. How do we remove Brown from the Capitol?
It's not good.
And by the way, for people who think that she's related to Jerry Brown, former governor of California, she is not. He happens to have a sister named Catherine or Kate Brown. They're not the same people.
Okay, so you did the dig
anyway,
on it. Yep.
Yeah, that woman is so corrupt, and she's the one that told the FBI, the state police, to take care of Lavoie.
Wow.
She gave the go ahead after a phone call to the White House. So we don't like her. She's extreme. She's far left. She approved a bill for a full-term abortion up until the moment of birth in Oregon.
Stacey Gomez says Kate Brown needs to go.
Yes, she does. We did a recall. There was actually 2 simultaneous recall petitions last year, and there will be another recall petition coming out. Over 20% of people that signed the Republican Party recall petition, more than 20% are Democrats, and that's huge in Oregon.
Wow.
To get that many that percentage dissatisfaction.
That is amazing. So God's servant wants to know, have you reached out to the Senate Conservatives Fund PAC for their support?
Not yet. Great question. I need to write that down. So the way that this works in the political arena, when you're running for for a federal seat, to really get noticed from the big PACs, you need to show a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So by the end of March, I need to raise $100,000. And it sounds like a huge number, mm-hmm. but we break it down to the ridiculous. All I need is 1,000 people. We've got 612 watching right now, and then plus those that they aren't counting, plus the people that'll see this on the replay, mm-hmm. plus the people that'll see it when I repost it. 1,000, preferably more people that'll say, Joe Ray, I want to see America back to where we're supposed to be, what our founding fathers saw, what we know this nation can be, finish draining the swamp. I will donate $33, 33 cents a month, for 3 months, January, February, March. If and when, because we'll show that much money by the end of March, then we'll start getting the recognition, and then the Senate Conservative Fund, they'll start looking.
Garden Gnome just asked, how can patriots who do not live in Oregon support Joe Ray Perkins' campaign? Well, I'm showing you right now, Joe Perkins for ussenate.vote/donate. I also dropped that link in the description here.
In the chat.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's just Perkins for ussenate.vote.
Yep.
Yep.
.vote.
So,
that's correct.
.vote. Yeah, I actually used to own the .com, and I let it go, and I tried to get it back, but somebody's hiding it. But that's okay. I like the .vote anyway, because vote.
We need to vote. We need to get out there and not sit on our laurels. Yeah. Absolutely.
It doesn't matter where somebody lives in the country. You can donate to any political candidate, because when we're at the federal level, our votes affect the entire country. It doesn't just affect our state or our district. It affects everybody. And we saw that when No Name walked into the Senate chambers and did a thumbs down.
Wow.
I do believe that was one of his very last acts that he ever did. The thumbs down. Well, guess what? No Name, you got thumb down.
Yes, he did.
That sealed his fate.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So we've got another kind of a fun question. Phantom _M61A1. What year Corvette?
Which one?
Which one? I like it.
Which one? Yeah. So our first Corvette we bought in 2011, and that's a 2004 C5 Millennium Yellow, which our 16-year-old grandson is going to buy from us, and he is currently driving it. He actually got grounded. He got grounded for a few days, so he wasn't able to drive. And then in August we bought a 2008 C6 yellow with a black racing stripe.
Oh, and I understand there's something else really cool on that yellow one.
Yeah, there is. I saw it yesterday.
Did you see it?
What do you got on there?
I saw that
Tell
American
us.
flag Q.
There's a red, white, and blue Q on the back window. It's on the passenger side of the back window is a curved window, so it's on the passenger side.
That's so awesome. God bless you. And if you look at that, that's America, folks. That, a yellow Corvette with a beautiful woman running for candidate for Senate. I mean, I don't think you could get much more America than that, folks.
I don't think so.
We got a couple of other questions. Shady, do you want to grab one? I think I'm kind of going down in order. Did you see where I'm at?
Yeah, I saw where you were at. One thing I wanted to mention just for a second is I did get to ride up yesterday and meet with Joe Ray, and what an honor it was to hang out with you just between us. I really appreciated you taking the time to speak with me, and I wanted to maybe just let everybody know that the politics out here in Oregon are extremely left oriented.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of conservatives here in the state. They are kind of sidelined a little bit, if you will. But from what she was discussing last night, it seems like that the federal government is getting a little bit more interested in helping support red candidates from the state of Oregon. They've lost so many, so long it's been blue out here that they've kind of not been supporting the candidates here as much. And so if we can garner some support for Joe Ray here, we can actually get the federal, the elections commissions at the federal level to step in and help her out a little bit. So that's one thing that I wanted to get out there. But I it's hard to describe speaking to a political candidate who understands all of the stuff that you guys out there in the chat understand. Like, this is someone who doesn't need to be given any information. She's been following the Q stuff and was red pilled before Q. So that to me is something that's extraordinary. I don't know how many people like that we can possibly find, but I really appreciated meeting with her, and she is really some kind of special. She doesn't just talk about Q. She's willing to go on Twitter and beat up on the trolls and talk back to them and speak truth to power right there in Jack's backyard. So this is pretty amazing that you're willing to stand up, not just for America, Joe, but to stand up for Q and for the truth, because Matrixxx and I say all the time, we're consistently being given the choices of the lesser of two evils, and we're kind of tired of deciding which evil is best. And so we really do think it's a breath of fresh air to have you speaking for the truth, not just your truth, but the truth of our nation, the truth of our Constitution. And the truth is, all of these people in government who are who don't respect our Constitution, or who want to take our Constitution away. And this is a pretty extraordinary moment.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I tell people that I absolutely love about living in the United States of America is we get to have the right, the privilege of having our own political views. What we don't have, and I don't often go into this because I don't, it depends on who I'm speaking to. What our political leaders don't have the right to do is to be corrupt and lie to us and try to destroy our Constitution and our nation. And you can see right behind me, there's a sticker that says "Never Socialism," which my friend Mary Ellen sent to me from the East Coast. So we don't, and on the other side, you can see the WWG1 WGA sticker.
I see.
So yeah, anyway, so they don't have the right to lie to us. They don't have the right, our elected officials, to be corrupt, to do all these things that are designed. You talk about treason. I've listened to to the Shift Sham show and his lies, and then never a nader. I got to come up with a nader slogan, but I'm
No
sure
Nat.
Nadler.
I'm sure somebody, yeah, Nadler, yeah. You know, with all of their lies, they're so divisive, they're so twisted, and they're so full of lies, and thank God, it's less than 50% of Americans believe them anymore. So just keep on talking, y'all. Keep going for it because you're exposing yourselves. But I love the fact that we get to have our own views here in America, and I think it's important that we maintain that. But when we are electing people for any level of office, we all take an oath that we're going to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yeah, we have somebody who said that just came in. For those of you that just came in, we have with us today Jo Rae Perkins for U.S. Senate for Oregon. She's a constitutional conservative Republican, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a patriot, pro-life, to a Second Amendment, and she wants to reunite Oregon. So that's amazing for those that just came in. We have 679 people, 681. Please thumb this up if you can. We've got a couple new questions here. Have you faced any negative experiences because of your open support for Q?
Yes, I was. Yes, I did, and Shady and I talked about it a little bit. Yes, I have fun with some of the people out there on Twitter. So I was interviewed by Right Wing Watch, and he didn't do too bad of an article because I did it live on Facebook. He was on the phone on speaker, and I was broadcasting live, so he couldn't twist too much what I said. But anyway, there are a lot of comments there. And sorry, I'm looking up a little bit as I'm thinking. I can see the playback here. It's kind of weird. So one of the people that put out there he said, "You're just a loon. You need to go away."
Huh.
And I replied back, "At least I don't have my head stuck in the sand like an ostrich. A loon makes a screeching noise and draws attention. So I'm drawing attention to something. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm willing to look outside the box."
Right. Prove me wrong.
The choice to know is yours.
Boom. Boom. I love it. And thank you for that. So I kind of got the impression, have you seen the Matrixxx Groove Hour before as well?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. I'm honored. Thank you. I've been watching you guys for a while. I spent this last summer working on my house, sanding, scraping, painting, and still not done. So while I was outside working on the house and doing all this wonderful stuff, fixing it up to keep, not to sell. People always, "Oh, do you sell it?" No. I listen to a whole lot of videos, so I would listen, put on intheMatrixxx, and you guys saw Dustin on my page, and yes,
listen to Dustin and Craig at Just Informed talk. So listen to a whole lot of videos. Listen to Hillsdale College, so I could get a little more constitutional knowledge in my brain. So
amazing. Well, we're very honored. Thank you. Sky Blue says, "I will proudly donate to Jo Rae Perkins. We do need to save Oregon." I think some people want to kind of get into some. Born Deplorable says, "How can we support you here locally?" We did drop the donation link. She's saying if 1,000, 333 or 17 or 45, whatever you want to donate to her for 3 months.
Whatever you want to. And shout out, there's somebody, I don't know the person, from Florida, donated $1,000 a couple days ago.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
I'm blown away. Thank you. And I sent him an email last night thanking him. I was just like, what? Oh my gosh. This to me is just amazing. I'm always blown away by the support, whether it's $5 or $2,500. I'm always blown away.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yes, this community is very amazing, and that's why people are afraid of us, because one, a population that's awake is very dangerous and detrimental to their plans that they've been, their big con that they've been pulling on us for many years, as you knew, and when you woke up. And this is just an amazing community. We've got a great audience. We've got 730 people watching now. Queued Up wants to know, have you met Donald J. Trump yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, we'll get him to.
Not yet. No.
So I
It'll
guarantee
happen.
it will happen. He'll probably support you, and hopefully he'll get out to Oregon. Dan Scavino, if you're listening, buddy, we love that.
Yeah, definitely come out of here.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a comment there from the Littlet. He can't donate or donate, but will post my banner on their Facebook page. They've got a lot of friends, family in Oregon, and I appreciate that a lot. And you guys can pray wherever you are. If you pray, you can pray.
That's right. And Lander says, support your constitutional oath. I think from what I'm hearing so far, she does understand that oath 100%. The people that are in office right now in Oregon do not support that oath.
Most of them don't. So I'm going to hold this up. This is the brochure that I've used for quite a while. So if you can see that,
yes,
it says the oath of office.
And there's her
right
nod.
there.
She's ready to go, guys.
That's your word. That's your bond.
Absolutely.
So
that's how most normal people have lived down here on the streets, right? We've just been fooled for so long. Somebody wants to know where you stand on the abortion issue. That's Grandpa C. He wants to understand your abortion stance.
My abortion stance. So here we go. I am 100% pro-life. Life begins at conception. And abortion is wrong at every level. There's except to save the life of the mother. Well, the majority of the time that we get that far in the pregnancy, both can be saved. It was started by, abortion was pushed by a eugenist, Margaret Sanger. Mm-hmm. She wanted to annihilate the black community.
They called them weeds, extinguish the weeds, they called it. And that's sad.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yes.
It's so sad. Whether we like it or not, abortion is legal. We need to overturn Roe v. Wade. We need to start with Doe versus Bolton. And a lot of people don't know what Doe v. Bolton is. Doe v. Bolton came out of a case in Georgia where it was for a late-term abortion to, quote unquote, save the life of the mother.
You know what? That just popped in my head. Is it spelled Bolton?
Yes, Doe as in John Doe and Bolton, Bolton.
So when Q says follow Bolton, I wonder if that has a double meaning.
Didn't think about that. I wonder if there's any connection to that.
Well, we're having this discussion today, and this just appeared interesting, right?
Yeah.
I think do you want to expand on that? On that, that was very good. Press 17, guys, if you guys understand her stance on abortion. If you guys understand that, press that. The next one is climate change.
Okay, wait. So somebody said saying it and doing is two different things. Prove it.
Prove it, right?
I don't know. I don't know how they want me to prove something.
Well, how many grandchildren do you have?
And I'm not quite sure. I'm 17. Excuse me. I'm seeing the 17. Thank you, guys. 14 grandchildren.
14 grandchildren.
Sometimes with the cat and the dog and my mother-in-law, it could be 17. No, not the dog, the
right.
cat, my husband and the cat, my husband, mother-in-law. Anyway.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Anyway. What was your next question? I'm sorry.
So Chase McCammon says, what's your stance on the fake climate change fiasco? Obviously, Chase is under the impression and realization that this climate change is fake and being used against us. But what is your stance on climate change?
The climate change is cyclical.
Yep.
There are things that happen that actually change. I'm looking around for a couple books that I have, and I'm not seeing them. That means that they're in another room where I've been reading them. One is called The Politically Incorrect Guide to Climate Change by Mark, M-A-R-C, Moran, M-O-R-A-N. Mm-hmm. And the other one I just picked up, and I honestly do not remember the name of it. I'm looking to see if it's over here in the corner. But anyway, here's the thing, is there are natural things that happen. There were 3 major earthquakes that tilted the Earth on its axis. Just a teeny bit, and it doesn't take much. Every time that happens, that affects the weather patterns where they're at because the Earth's axis moved, or the Earth moved on its axis. So if that happens, the weather patterns are in the same place. The globe is not. Mm-hmm. It moved. And that now affects. Now, and it's going to affect the Earth, the weather patterns, because the sun and the moon are in different positions to the Earth, so that affects the heating and cooling and it doesn't take much to do that. But the Inuit Indians, for those that don't know this, Inuit Indians up in Alaska sent a letter to NOAA, NOAA, and said, the Earth has moved on its axis. We know this because the stars are not in the same position. And then that was after the Fukushima earthquake, and then there was the one in there was three big ones, like almost within a very close time of each other. So we know that the Earth has moved on its axis. We know there's been rotational change based on geologic history from rocks and the direction of the crystals that are out there, and so that affects the weather patterns. And for those people, trolls that may be listening, simple science. If we cut the CO2 down the levels they want, the trees will die, the trees die, we die.
Right.
Go back to the Rio Accord, go back and look on the UN. This is all about population or depopulation, depopulating the planet. And because they can control 500 million people, or 500 million people, I'm sorry, they can control that. They can't control the population size now.
Absolutely. Wow. When is the Oregon primary?
May 19th.
May 19th,
Yep,
folks.
May
And
9th.
that was from God's servant. Miss Deborah, we already covered abortion and climate change as well. So this is kind of maybe a hot question. But do you...
Okay, wait. I want to go back. Be
Sure.
Happy says that the Bible says the earth is not moved. I'm sticking with what God's word says. You need to look at that, look at that totally in context, and go back and read the meaning of the words. Probably look in Strong's Concordance to really look, because when words are translated from Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic into other languages, we lose some of the meaning.
Yes.
So you have to look at that, because a lot of times God's word is not so simple. There's double meanings, and you have to read the whole thing in context. And so anyway, but we know that earthquakes shift the earth, and that's scientific.
And also some of the when they did the climate change research, they didn't include things, like the sun. And you go back 35,000 years, there was it's changed quite a bit, but when you go back to the initial results where they took the measurements from, it's just like a statistic. You can make anything look like you want it to look. I think the bottom line with the climate change here, for me, I'm just speaking for me, is that I don't think I need to pay a politician to fix my earth.
No.
Now, I'll tell you, George Carlin has a phenomenal shtick on global warming, and people should look it up. Oh my gosh,
really
I love it.
Isn't it interesting that we thought George Carlin was a comedian, but really he was a truth teller?
Yeah.
He was a red pillar.
Yeah.
I go
Red
back
pillar
and
when
look,
it wasn't.
yeah.
Said no.
I go back and look at him and go, that's, we're laughing at that back then. I'm like looking at it now going, he was right. Sky Blue donated to Joe Ray. It took a few minutes, but she got it done. Thank you, Shady, for introducing us or bring us on the show. Yes, this is Shady's amazing guest right here. And Shady does live, I see some questions. Yes, Shady does live in Oregon. And we're very happy. She's got my vote from Texas, says Grandpa C. Also, we have some really good comments here for you. So you nailed it, Chase.
I'm reading these, scrolling through these. Okay,
Yeah.
you've got another question that your mods pulled. Go ahead.
Yes, Chase McCammon says, thank you for pronouncing my name. But Chase, that was a great question. Thank you, sir. Also, let me see. Somebody's asking about the Lavoie, the murder of Lavoie Finicum. What do you believe was the real deal there? Do you think U1 was involved with that? I heard that the story that we heard in my digging was that they wanted to sell the land to China for quote unquote windmills. But that's from Hot Rodley from Tatooine. It's kind of a sticky question. It's more of a guess because we really can't totally prove it. But what are your thoughts on that?
So there was a lot of talk that it was about uranium-1. I looked at a map, at a geology map showing where uranium was. Now, where the Bundy's Ranch is in Nevada, it is red hot. And we were told it was so that China wanted to put a bunch of solar panels down there. I don't think so. I mean, it was
Solar panels, right?
blazing red hot, amazing. Where the ranch is in Oregon, the Hammond Ranch, which is where this started, and they've been in a fight with the Bureau of Labor Management, which brings us into one of my other huge things, which is get the federal government off of our land. They don't own it. They should not have control of it. That map was cold. But that doesn't mean that somebody didn't change the maps to where those of us that do a little research can't see it. And so I put it out there a couple years ago, and I said, hey guys, I just looked at this map online, and it's not showing any uranium in this area. The closest is a few hundred miles away on the Oregon-Nevada border. So if somebody could do some other research, and somebody else has said that they had seen another map that was showing a lot of uranium in that area. So it's quite possible that they had switched the maps out. And we'd have to go back and look at some historic printed maps to find it. Yeah, to hide it. Because there's those of us that are going, I wonder. And there are minerals out there. So yeah, it has something to do with that land out there. And we know that.
Yeah. Terry Badu said Kate Brown helped Hillary with U1, which is very interesting. BLM sucks.
I don't doubt it.
We get some good comments.
Yeah.
God's Servant asks, can you explain why voting in the primaries and all the way down the ballot is important? That's a question. What do you think of that?
It is so important. And if you live in Oregon and you're not registered to vote, or you're not sure how you're registered to vote, go online to OregonVotes.gov and check on My Vote. And you can check your registration. Oregon is a closed primary state, so if you are not registered as a Republican, you cannot vote for me. You must be a Republican in the primary to vote for a candidate like me. So it's huge. And what's happening is on the down ballot or on the up ballot, either direction, it doesn't matter. We have lost the state has almost a supermajority. If we lose 2 more seats in the Oregon House this go around, our Republicans don't even need to show up. Or if we lose, let's see here, because then they would be able to have a quorum without any Republicans on the floor of the Oregon House. And if we lose, I can't remember how many seats in the Senate, but we need to get people elected. We need to get them elected at the city council level. They're making laws that are effective. Cities have signed on to the ICME, whatever the UN thing is of clean air, clean water, etc. Lies. It ends up costing the municipalities thousands and thousands of dollars. Oh, it's not going to cost you anything. More lies. We need to have people elected at the school boards. Are huge. They are the stuff that they're doing to our kids, and somebody mentioned about that earlier. The things that they're doing to our children, and the lies. I'm going to give you guys a great example of what's happening. So last May or June, I was over at our son's house and watching our youngest grandson, Maverick. And Jackson comes in the door and he goes, "Oh, it's so hot out there because people are driving their cars."
What?
And I said,
hello.
"Jackson, come here. What did you just say?" And he goes, "It's so hot out there. I'm sweating because people are driving their cars." Jackson, where did you hear this? Did you get this at school? He says, "Well, no." "Well, how did you hear this?" He says, "Oh, well, there's this guy that they show us on TV, Bill." And they go, "Oh, Bill Nye, the science guy?"
OMG.
"Yeah, Grandma." So I tell him about Bill Nye, that he really isn't a scientist, that he really used to work at Boeing. He's really an engineer. But he likes to tell a lot of jokes, and and so he ends up being on TV. And so then I explained to him, which I went over a little bit ago, the CO2 oxygen exchange. And so Jackson looks at me and he says, "So Grandma," and so I said, "So Jackson, what happens if the trees die?" He goes, "Grandma, then we die." "Grandma, would the panda die too? They're so cute." He was 9 years old and he got it.
Wow.
You understood.
At 9 years old. That's the garbage that, the school didn't teach it to me, but they had the TV on with Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yep. That's amazing.
Pseudo-science guy.
That's amazing. I had a similar story like that too. Yeah. It's they were teaching my daughter that we were a constitutional democracy, and she raised her hand and says, "Then why do we say to the republic?"
Oh, I love it.
Oh my God, that's a proud day for a dad.
Yeah, and she came home and I said, "That is awesome, Abby," because we played the Constitution game when we were young. When she was younger, I believe every parent should tell their, teach their child the Constitution. And I basically came back and said, "Well, the word democracy isn't written in the Constitution or any of the 50 states' Constitution." I armed her with the word democracy means demos, and crassy means ruling the people, right? And I gave her the example, like if you have three friends and two wanted to go to McDonald's, one wanted to go to Taco Bell, you're going to McDonald's, so she didn't like that either. But she basically went back, and the teacher kind of gave her, like, "We have one that can see. I'll look into that." And I gave her the quotes, what Thomas Jefferson said about a democracy, and John Adams, and she basically started getting a C in the class, and she's a straight A student. I then had to call up the teacher and say, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Oh, I forgot to put in 2 grades. She's got a B plus." I'm like, "Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Teach your children. Great job, Joe Ray.
I will tell you, I get so ticked off when I hear any elected official and anybody on Fox News calling our former government a democracy.
Me too.
I yell every time. We live in a republic.
Yeah, we do. But the problem is that we are in a democracy right now, and that's what we got to get out of. Back to the republic, right?
Right.
By the way, Holly Hart Truth just donated $100. You go, girlfriend, is what she said.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
awesome,
Holly.
guys.
Oh my gosh, you guys are blowing me away.
Yeah,
this is really cool. I really appreciate our audience.
Martha is in Washington County. Hey, Martha. Marcia. I'm sorry, Marcia.
And we've got 805 people watching. Please share this show. It's not every day that you got somebody that is of the same mindset as you. Facts are facts whether we like it or not. She follows Q. She understands Q. This is absolutely amazing, and they are afraid. Note the Media Matters article about all of the people that were that support QAnon, the far right conspiracy fringe theory, right? And we're very honored to have you here. So let's. Shady, you got any other questions here in Discord?
Well, I don't have one right there, but I would like to maybe just talk a little bit about the situation that we have out here in Oregon and how we are kind of ostracized with the vote and the different ways that they're working. We have to all be engineered, I think, to support conservative candidates, but also, like she's in a primary against another candidate who is maybe has a little bit of momentum in the situation, but we can topple that over. We can really change the direction here by being Q and being awake and sharing the truth and getting louder. And what I really love about Jo is that she's not afraid to be loud. She's not afraid to say the truth. She's not afraid to look another person right in the eye and say, "No, that's not how it looks. This is what's going on." And the conversation it's completely different out here than it is back east. I'm from North Carolina. The whole political arena there is very orchestrated and extremely functional. And out here, lots of people don't pay any attention to it. And the more people don't pay attention to our politics, the further slide towards socialism is occurring. So if anything, I would really encourage everyone, especially the people in Oregon, to get involved, show up for events, be heard, make stickers, put stuff on your car, like help wake other people up that can see that they're not the only conservative out here, because it really is. We have the whole Antifa thing in Portland, and they're always coming after people and attacking people. You saw what happened in Virginia with the Second Amendment rally. Not a shot fired. This is a completely different view of America, what we saw in Virginia, than what we see in Portland. So getting involved and being heard and supporting Ms. Perkins is going to be one of the main ways that you can become a political advocate or a political courier of the truth. You know, the truth is what is the most important for any of us to talk about, and she is talking about the truth. And to have an extended conversation with her that I had yesterday, I was not, to be honest with you, Joe, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to the candid nature of which you speak. It's very plain and very direct and very honest. She's not trying to sugarcoat anything.
It's refreshing.
Yes, so refreshing. Yes,
Yeah.
It's like our president, the way he talks to us, like she is able to speak to other people. And I think that those types of representatives and candidates are a godsend for all of us, and especially for Q. So more than anything, I just wanted to encourage other people in the state of Oregon to contact me, contact her. Let's start building an actual ground level grassroots coalition to go after these leftist people and get them out of office this year.
That's right.
We need to, and we have got such momentum here in Oregon for folks that don't live here. Make sure you watch our news on February the 6th, because we're going to have a huge timber unity rally descend upon the Capitol steps again. When they started going with there's two things that happened. Well, there's three, but two big catalysts on top of them going after our guns. One was medical freedom rights, where they're trying to force the kids to have to get vaccinations.
Yep.
And the other is the cap and trade, and what that will do to almost every industry in Oregon, not just the timber industry, which has been for decades was the number one industry in Oregon. Yes. And it's greatly diminished. Now we watch our forests burn up. But this has sparked people. This has sparked the Russian old believers, dadgum Russians again. See, there they are. And they're Russian dressing. I used to drink White Russians. You know, I don't drink anymore because I'm allergic to alcohol, but that's probably a good thing. So I bet I always, but they're wonderful, great people. I've got a friend who's from Russia, and every now and then Vlad gets a hold of me and we talk, and I was on his radio show when I ran for the Senate 6 years ago. And then we've got the Slavic vote, the Slavic voice, the medical freedom folks. A lot of them were Democrats, and they have walked away in Oregon, and they're not expecting this. So you've got the cap and trade, which just woke the timber industry up like nobody's business. And then the medical freedom folks, and how they're just trying to tell us everything that they're going to do. Kate Brown said, and this is paraphrased because I wasn't there and I got it secondhand, that's my disclosure, but a high school graduation at Lebanon High School a few years ago, she said their goal was for the government to take care of the children from birth to grave. Excuse me, lady, that's not your job.
Nope, it sure is not. And it's also not our job to be taking care of people that aren't citizens, illegal people that are here.
That are here illegally. And I'm amazed at people that, I just had a conversation with somebody at Oregon Grassroots United event Friday night. There's a gentleman who asked me what my thought on Oregon being a sanctuary state, which somehow either got voted in or legislature approved it in 1987. I said, and I asked him, I said, well, do you lock the door to your house? And he said, well, yes. And I said, well, why?
Why? Yeah.
Well, to keep people out. Okay, so you lock the door to your house to keep people out that you aren't given permission to be in, but you're okay with them coming into our country without permission. He thinks that these people are all refugees.
Right.
He does not know, and I didn't have time to talk with him about it. He does not know that there's a huge contingent that are paid. A friend of mine is from Honduras, and I saw her at the store a few months ago, and I said, okay, Carolina, tell me the truth. Are they being paid? Because her sister and brother still live in Honduras. She said, yes, they're being paid.
Yep.
Wow. Straight from, say, when you know people,
yes,
and
I'm
blessed with knowing people all over the place. It's crazy when I start thinking about this, that know people direct connection to Honduras. Yeah, they are these, and we know that. But when it's like, yeah, they're being paid to get up here. I want people to live in their own countries. It's got to be the hardest thing in the world to leave your homeland and your family and everything you've known because you have to survive. I cannot imagine that. My heart goes out because we know that there's atrocities, and I'm not downplaying that at all. I want everybody in every country to have, this is where I'm literally tearing up, to have the freedom that we have in this country. And I don't want to see it destroyed because we've got a bunch of cabal, deep state, Marxist, Leninist, Stalinist, satanic people running our country and trying to undermine our country and what we have here. You tell me
Amen.
What country in the world people want to live in, and then tell me why. And then
Amen.
Why do we've got these people want us to be like Cuba or China, or how Russia might be?
One point I like to make to people is, hey, okay, well, you don't like this, that's fine. Why don't you go try to survive in a country where only a government has a weapon? People don't understand what kind of society that we have here. People don't understand that all of the folks that showed up in Virginia last week are the reason that we're not living in a socialist totalitarian society already, because of the protection that we as the people, so many folks try to, we want the guns for hunting. And 25 years of red pill, and I'm like, so many people, like, look, guns are not for hunting. Guns are to prevent someone from taking what is yours. It's your ability to defend yourself, your ability as a female to defend yourself from the world, is your right to carry a firearm, your right to protect your family at all costs from someone trying to attack or take it from you. And this idea that we're gonna make America gun safe zones and all of these different things, that's where the mayhem is. And there's no other country out there where you can own and protect your property. There's not even any country out there where you can actually own your property on paper like you can here. So it's really, really a large jump that they've spent the last 20 or 30 years trying to close the gap and show that, oh no, there's really no difference here or there. Your guns are for sport and you don't need weapons of war. People 100 years ago, people had, American citizens owned battleships. We had cannons and we had real artillery stored in our house. So, the idea that we've gotten this far is kind of scary, but we can't let it go any further. And that's, the overarching point here.
Absolutely.
It is. So Shady, you talked about us meeting yesterday, and it's really interesting. I just hired a great consultant. I've never done this before, but she's brilliant, and it's going to be great. But it's real interesting because they're so used to, at the Senate level, somebody being super polished. I'm a Main Street American. I believe that I represent what our founders had in mind. Everyday people that are willing to put their lives on hold, go serve their country for a season. I believe in term limits, 12 years maximum, combined between the House and the Senate.
Yes.
And then return back to your communities and be active locally if you still want to be active in politics. But don't make it a career. I'm me. I'm an everyday person, been through the good, the bad, the ugly, and we've come out the other side. And so we know what people go through, everyday people.
Yeah. So you're everyday people fighting for everyday people, and that's who we all are.
That's it.
And we've all been lied to, and you've seen the lies, just like a lot of us here. This is, by far the most red-pilled audience on YouTube, and I think if I can see a 17 to see if you guys are so far loving Miss Jo Rae Perkins, who is running for Senate in Oregon.
A couple of people are asking about your stance on mandatory vaccinations.
No.
No
Agreed.
mandatory vaccinations, period, the end.
Right. I agree.
Right.
Short, sweet, to the point, 2 letters.
I like it. That's easy.
Hard about no, do you not understand? No.
Right. Christian,
We got a button for no.
Yeah, Christian Supreme says, Mrs. Perkins has me pumped up like one of us running for office. I just donated. Thank you, Mrs. Perkins. Where we go, one we go all. God bless us all. Keep calm and QAnon says, what's your stance on medical cannabis?
So far, it has proven, from what I've seen, to be effective. My biggest issue that I've had with medical cannabis, and in Oregon it's legal, so you don't have to worry about medical cannabis anymore. It's you can get as stoned as you want. And I used to be a hippie back in my younger years, and I like having my brain cells intact versus walking around in a fog. What always blew me away with the medical cannabis is consume as needed. There's very little medication that is prescribed that says consume as needed, take as needed. But there's been too much research out there from the non-traditional side of the medical world that shows that there is benefit to ingredients in cannabis. And so many of our drugs are synthetics of natural occurring things, like red rice yeast is used for high cholesterol which comes from garlic, instead of taking chemicals that give you all kinds of side effects. So and here's a crazy thing. There's a lot of liberal people who were naturalists before a lot of conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
We go around disagreeing, and you've seen on there, Reunite Oregon, One Oregon. We need to start with, what do we agree on first? I think it's important that we build that foundation. Most of us on the conservative side, we think logic before emotion. Most people on the liberal side think emotion and logic might come into play.
Correct.
Okay? But let's stop and find out. Let's take our logic and go, wait a minute, what do we agree with the emotional side of people? And start with that first. You're going to find that we agree on almost everything. So back to the pharmaceuticals. These folks on the hippie liberal side that didn't come into the conservative zone, they have been talking natural medicine, acupuncture, natural herbs for decades. And some of them are still stuck, and they've gotten sucked into the destructive liberal agenda. Okay? Start finding out, what do we agree with first instead of attacking? And we're going to find out that we probably agree on over 80% of the things that we care about. Then we can discuss in a adult manner, what do we not agree on, and come to solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They want us divided. That's the whole thing.
So they do. They absolutely do. And this is one of the issues, believe it or not, that they're using to divide us. For those that don't know, Oregon is a recreational, quote unquote, state where there is no medical requirement to consume cannabis. And it's kind of, truthfully, it's, in my opinion, I'm a person that uses cannabis for medical purposes. I have an Oregon card here for that. But what they've done is, with the recreational reality, is they've blurred the lines to such a degree that not only we had a direct patient to producer relationship here a few years back, and they've gotten rid of that and tried to insert the government in between that relationship. And so instead of being able to, for a person to choose who it is they would like to grow their medicine, now the state wants to have a say in that, and they've restricted us as medical growers here from being able to do the 48 plant thing, and they're wanting to do all these restrictions, and they passed the recreational bill saying that the medical industry would not be affected. But what they've really done, in essence, is what I consider a reverse prohibition tactic, which is bring everything in under OLCC in the state, and now the state is is preventing farmers like from growing. They're preventing people from getting permits. They're stopping people from producing. They're doing all these tactics to try, and a 30% tax or whatever it is. Every single thing that's engineered to not have the real conversation, which is the scientific studies that show the effects of CBD and THC on all of these conditions that are currently kind of plaguing the country. But my personal opinion on it is the recreational thing was a little bit of a way to undermine what was probably the best medical organized cannabis in America. Like it was pretty amazing here whenever I first came out here, and now it's now getting finding somebody you trust is kind of weird because people are spraying stuff on their products. There's all this stuff that goes on behind the scenes that nobody really knows about, and they've really taken away the choice of a lot of patients who were legitimate patients who paid quite a bit every year to be patients, and now they've taken that away from them. So that's a little bit of the history of what's going on here in Oregon. But the science is, the science in the world is way ahead of the science in America on all of these topics. So yeah, great there. Thank you, Joe.
That's a great question. Yeah, and it's a difficult one, but we have a bunch of people. Chatelet Kekistan wants to know, when you meet POTUS, are you going to ask him about Q?
Like, not right off.
I wonder if he knows the sign language for Q.
Yes, he does.
Oh, I think he does.
We know he knows. And you see his pinned tweet right now. It's a Chan brilliant anon meme, right? So
did you see that, Joe Ray?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So he's got, I don't know if you've seen it, maybe we can show you, but if you look at the president's Twitter right now, he has a anon meme up there of Obama sitting outside of Trump Tower, like spying on him.
Pinned tweet. And
pinned tweet to his Twitter.
The funny thing is, we were sitting around talking in Discord. We're talking about, it was awesome that Dan Scavino did a anon meme too. Look at his pinned tweet. There it is right there.
Okay, so I'm trying. Oh wait, did you bring it up? Hold on, I just switched screens.
Yep. It should be coming up soon.
Okay. Where's it
at? Can you not see it?
Did you take it down?
Oh, it's right here.
I'm seeing.
Wait, where'd it go?
It takes a second for it to come up
there
on
it is.
YouTube.
The one at the top where he's leaning against the wall?
Yes, with Obama spying on him.
Yeah.
Obama's outside the window.
That's
a meme
from Q Research. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and it's pinned.
Awesome.
See how he pinned it?
And all this stuff coming out right now is, like they just released the second thing last night on Laura Ingraham. So, we saw in the Q post the drip to flood, and Joe, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be asking more Q-centric questions here in the next month or so. Not just for you and your campaign, but the list that they put out in the Media Matters article, there was quite a number of people that they tagged across the country who are, maybe if the mods could drop that for people out here. So in case there's a representative somewhere near you who's tweeted about Q or whatever, that was a great article to kind of help us find out who it is that we can start bringing onto the radio programs and start talking to and show the audience, show America, hey, you're not stuck with the guy that's in there now. I'm going
to be reaching out to 2 California candidates too, Shady. Stay tuned, guys. Joe Ray. So we have Crux out there wants to ask you what you think about Hollywood and the Mockingbird media. What's your take on that?
I remember as a child going to school in Southern California. I remember them telling us how the newspapers in the UK were yellow journalism, and we didn't have that in America, and how in countries like China and Russia they regulated the news and it was all full of propaganda, and we didn't have that in America.
Yeah, that's right. You remember when the president spoke, it would always be on TV, every channel?
Yes.
That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
It doesn't happen anymore. And so we've gone from roughly 90 independently owned media outlets to 6 conglomerates.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what is coming out of Hollywood is discussing. A friend of mine worked down there in the film industry, and she was telling me that there's a reason that they call them stars, because they wanted them to be worshipped.
Crux is saying ding, 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 ding.
Yes, sir. Yeah. He knows.
Mm-hmm. And so does she. It looks like Joe Ray. Well done. Keep going.
So and then there's all this idolizing. I don't idolize anybody. I'm a Christian. I follow Jesus. God, he's my savior. Father, give me insight and keep me going.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate people, but for years, I didn't even care what I'm getting a feedback all of a sudden. I don't care who's married to who, but I care about the pedophilia that's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's happening. And I care about how they've been dripping all this dark evil on our kids.
Crux is saying that you are so over the target.
Film went out there that had to be approved by the Protestant community.
That's right.
They couldn't release the movie.
Right.
That's right. Boy, yeah, you're so over the target. We're getting a little bit of attackageness on my stream too. So over the target, Joe Ray, over the target. I don't know how much more time you have. We've got a lot of great stuff going on.
I have time.
What's your opinion on General Flynn? That comes from El Marie.
I look forward to them just blowing that wide apart, and General Flynn walking out with the biggest smile on his face.
You and everybody in this room.
President Trump standing right there saying, "Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you for laying it all on the line and getting every single thing, dime and then some, restored back to him." And as a taxpayer, I will gladly say, yeah, we need to be ponying up that bill. And then I think that we need to start suing those people that lied and maligned and prosecuted and persecuted him for every red cent they have.
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. What do you think about going
Other
over?
than that, I think it's all going good.
Oh yeah. Other than that, right? I mean, wow. I mean, you are basically, mirroring what I think as well, and I'm very honored to meet you. And I don't know if you saw the attacks that we're having on here in the chat room, but we've got the best mods ever. I just want to give a big hand to our mods out there. We've got LTQ, Poussant queued up, Rocket Girl, Shady, Groove out there, myself, Pseudonym, Cutter, Jackie, JT Wild, Carly, Kiwi, Liberty, LK, Nunya, QD, you guys are all doing an amazing job. Whoever's out there, Fiona, thank you. So we got WWG1, WG. I always do that to her, but she's awesome. We do love General Flynn as well. So we had a pretty major attack there, guys, and that means that we're over the target. What do you think about going over a couple Q posts? You know that we had some Q posts yesterday, right? You want to go over some of them with us?
Sure, go for it.
All right, let's do this.
All right, that'll be fun.
So, as you know, intheMatrixxx here on Twitter has every Q post since February of 2018. Every Q post, and my account, I'm very honored and blessed to be here and a part of it. It's amazing. So basically, this is the Q alert 12320. This will be my thread on all QAnon posts for Thursday, January 23rd, 2020. Truth and facts will prevail and more. Let's go, guys. And there's my little meme. I always pick a little something for the header page, and then we go into this tweet. Shady, you want to take this?
Yes, sir. Where are you? Let me get you. You're not with me over here. Hang on.
I'm not sharing the screen there. Let me see.
Not yet.
Okay. It should be shared. Oh, it's because I'm sharing. No, it should be shared. All right.
We're seeing her. What? Let's see. Which post was it? I've got it here on QMap.
It's the first one there. It's Q post 3783.
All right. 3783 gives us the Twitter link. And then says, truth and facts will prevail. The public will learn the truth. Q. And then the Twitter link takes us to the
yes,
Lord Ingram. That was
Lord
Lord
Ingram.
Ingram.
Yes, so we did cover that yesterday. Isn't that correct? Because that was right before our show, I believe. Then we've got this one.
So, yeah.
Can you see the screen? Can you see what I'm sharing there, Joe Ray?
Yeah.
You want to read 3784 for us?
3784. Hold on a second. Okay. D class, COC, POTUS to bar to Durham. F classified intel, provided 5i, non-5i as needed. Does Durham want to hold, freeze, public D class due to criminal nature of the probes? Think GJ material. What is GJ? I'm sorry.
Grand jury.
Grand jury.
Thank you. I knew that, but my brain wasn't engaged. When did the investigation begin? When did the investigation really begin? Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. Slow drip to the flood.
Nice. I love that post. And, the reason why it's
cute.
Yeah. The reason why I love it. Reason why it's grand jury is because the grand jury, it kind of keeps it secret so people don't flee.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why that is. And COC is chain of command as well.
Command, thank you.
Because we know POTUS gave it to Bar. Bar has the ability to declass at any time, and then Bar to Durham. And then the foreign classified intel, 5i and non-5i as needed. So that's what our Bar in Durham is working on, I think. And we know that it started before Q started this, and Durham joined the team on the 28th, same day, right around the same day Q posted too, right?
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. This is looking forward to that flood, sir. What storm, Mr. President? You'll see, POTUS. And I
love that.
Yeah, and we actually found the actual you'll see because I was like, oh gosh, he said you'll find out. But here's the video that actually says you'll see. He says both. You'll find out, and then he was asked again, you'll see. So we've got that. So this is the storm is coming, guys.
Watch at the beginning of that. If you play that video at the beginning of it, he does a cue in the air.
Yes, he does.
Oh yes, right up over here. Yes, let's watch that real quick.
Next to the White House tonight, President Trump raising new questions this evening after what he said during a photo op, summoning reporters, telling them this was the calm before the storm.
There it is.
ABC Cecilia Vega asking
you
the White House
saw
today,
it right
what
there.
did he mean?
In the White House State Dining Room, this is the image President Trump summoned reporters to see. The president smiling, surrounded by his top
Look at his
military
hand,
leaders
too.
and their spouses. Then came the unsolicited cryptic comment.
You guys know what this represents? Well, the calm before the storm.
Boom. What storm?
Could be calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr.
We have the
President?
world's great military people in this room. I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
And also, after those meetings, he had meetings with, all the people at the head of the government. And he said, we're going to do everything in our power to stop
You'll find out.
human trafficking completely, 100%. He goes, well, maybe not completely, but we're going to get all the weight of our government behind the prevention of human trafficking. And right here is where he said, you'll see. Here we go.
It was on the other one, I think, wasn't it? Was it
It's
in
right
here?
here.
He also said it.
See, it's gonna say. He says you'll find out first, and then here he gives us say right now. You'll see. Did you hear it?
Yeah. Well, I
Boom.
couldn't hear it, but I saw it.
Yep. You'll see.
Awesome.
All right. So this is where we left off, basically. I think, right? No, we did the congratulations, UK Patriots. Independence is a beautiful thing. Next Friday, they're leaving Brexit. I mean, that is huge news.
Awesome.
Globalism dead. So also, by the way, Castle clean. JFK used Castle as the White House mansion plus the East and West Wing. So
That's right, because didn't they call that Camelot? And I know there's a Camelot Castle. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. This one here is Schumer is the devil. That we kind of just put that in here too. This was interesting because Lindsey Graham said pull a thread here and there. We do threads on Twitter. Very interesting. We went over the Corona thing yesterday. Here's a good Castle graphic here. Why was it important to first clean the house within? White House signature marker, right? So this is a White House clean sig. This is a marker. Follow Bolton, clean stage. Learn how to archive offline. The streets won't be safe. Ken Starr and Bolton are also mentioned in these defined stage set. Who recently walked on stage to take command? What stage experience did this person have? Think Bill Clinton impeachment. Has the stage been cleaned and cleared for the next performance? If the stage is clean, can the performance begin? How might transparency, D-class, fit into the dialogue? I mean, this is huge, guys. And then we see our president saying, you know, in his thoughts, he was thinking that, you know, maybe I don't want Bolton to basically testify. And I basically thought it was interesting because, you know, maybe he's thinking, like, remember when he says, you know, I was thinking, a lot of rallies, he goes, I was thinking, what if we told the Democrats that we didn't want to build the wall, we'd have a wall right now.
They would break their necks to get to the border. There'd be trucks and cement, concrete and metal and steel everywhere.
Right. This is another one, very interesting. This happened at 3:32 yesterday, 15:32 Eastern Standard Time. This is the corrupt D's fighting for their lives to keep the media and government focused on POTUS. Don't worry, it won't be boring forever. That's huge. And if you look at these CrowdStrike time frames, CrowdStrike is a quote-unquote security company. They deliver services, technology, infrastructure, maintenance, and consulting. But if you look at 7-Eleven, $98,000, that's about the time Seth Rich was murdered, folks. 7-Eleven, 2016. He was murdered on the 10th? Correct me if I'm wrong, but...
And the steady increase in finances right here, you can see working in from May till August, the panic that's starting to set in and how much more they were having to throw at this.
That's right. And guess who started talking about CrowdStrike and Biden? And I mean, it's like they're setting it up for us, guys. Here's another one right here. Shady, this is 3788.
And this one is a link to the Wall Street Journal articles about the Justice Department believing if there's no legal basis in the surveillance of Carter Page, correction will be needed. All surveillance regarding POTUS and Hops will be concluded that there was insufficient predication to establish probable cause, basically meaning fruit of a poisonous tree.
That's right. So that's amazing. And then we heard it all come out last night on the mainstream news. This one here is also, the article was lacking the source document. We have it here. This is dated January 7th, 2020. And this is Carter Page. So basically, the FISA court should have canceled it was invalid, and they still monitored him, spied on him. Basically.
So Joe Ray, what's your let me get your opinion on what do you think about this whole FISA court fiasco and the way that they do this process in the last 30 plus years of using this to surveil Americans?
Well, again, that is just more evidence of the deep state and how they've been trying to figure out ways to destroy our republic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Vote no on FISA.
Vote no on FISA.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So I thought it was interesting too.
And the NDAA.
And the NDAA.
Yes.
Absolutely. 100%.
They suck us in on these things.
Look at this too. We had 1 minute deltas, but they could have been 0 deltas just because of the lag on the chans. I don't know if you're on the chans, but the lag is very bad. I thought that was amazing, guys. 1 minute delta. Could have been 2 minute deltas, just a theory, but still 1 minute deltas are very amazing. So I love this post, guys. This is post 3790, 123.20 at 17:01 and 20 seconds Eastern Time. When did the public first learn regarding FISA warrants? Regarding +3 non-page, right? If FISA warrants deemed to be illegal, all surveillance leapfrog hops, what happens to Mueller cases? Case and cases. How do you invalidate a claim? Conspiracy to commit ... Rubber bullets sting, but do not last. Q. Now, you look at the what Q dropped here. This is that special approval LL paper trail special entry. Natalia Vincenskaya Manafort, FISA warrant issued, approved, Manafort, Mueller, Manafort. So this is a very interesting Q post, and you must remove, target, and silence all those illegally targeted for FISA surveillance plus UK assist. UK assist plus FISA surveillance included all upstream collection and tangent contacts. It's umbrella surveillance. foreign target designators create leapfrog hops to isolated real targets of non-FCOMs. That's why up there, the one that you read, Joe Ray, says F, foreign, both
right.
Five Eye and non-Five Eye, because there's other people that are foreign assets that know this, right? So this is the one where it goes P talks to X, X talks to Y, Y talks to Z, PXYZ, bulk data collection umbrella. UK Assist allows for normal FISA law deconstruct. Deconstructs include D2 spy insert. Deconstruct includes non-FISA warrant special ops, warrant special ops classified to public warrant, public queue, and worth remembering. Comments on that?
This is pretty incredible because they basically in the mainstream news invalidated 2 of the 4 FISA warrants. This is directly related to Carter Page. Also, it's going to be related to General Flynn and George Papadopoulos in the very near future. This is whatever he says, like regarding Mueller's case. I mean, Mueller's case is crumbling before your eyes like sand washing away on the beach. Like it's going to be, there is no case here. It was all predicated on absolute nonsense, conjecture, and the need to shut people up. They've got to make people shut up. Otherwise, they'll talk about it while they're trying to prosecute them. And so all these people have gag orders and can't travel and this and that. It's really it's disheartening to see the way they treat Americans with this FISA process.
Absolutely. And by the way, how cool is this to be sitting here with
It's so cool.
a senator, an upcoming senator that's going to win Oregon. You're going to win, Joe Ray. You're going to win. And you're sitting here
I am going to win.
with Patriots that love and respect you, and you're hanging out doing Q posts with us. Who thinks that's cool out there? Press 17, 45, whatever you guys want to do. But I'm just absolutely honored to be sitting here with you going over Q posts. I mean, wow. This is what I thought was interesting, too. The next Q post was worth remembering. The day the public learned about 4 FISAs was December 9th, 2000. Look at all those 17s and 45s. December 9th, 2014. We knew Anons on August 31st, 2018. The day the public learned about the illegal surveillance targeting of Page 2 was yesterday, guys, minus Cruz. Important markers to remember. Watch the news. Q. What do you think of that? I mean, we knew, guys. And by the way, this is my thread on 8/31/18. If you guys want to go take a look at it, this is when we knew. And I tell you, it's really cool to go back and look at other posts, folks. Old posts from
POTUS. To go back and see like the work we've done, right? I mean, like, whoa. Like, wow. How do we?
Well, I have to give you guys and the Anons out there so many props, and those people that are doing the decoding. I love it, and the fact that there's so many people out there that can just decipher all of this and put it out there for everybody else to disseminate and absorb and understand. It means a lot.
Yeah, it means thank you, and it means a lot to be part of this movement. And it's just really it's about truth, and that's Shady and I's mantra basically. If it's fact and we can prove it, it's fact and we can prove it. The truth is truth, and there is nothing new under the sun. I just think we need to realign our consciousness to that truth. Because it's been there, it's always been there, but we just need to understand how to break the conditioning that we've been under in order to accept and understand the truth.
And ignite the flames of patriotism under people who have it in their hearts but don't understand or have a venue to express it, right? We've been shut out of schools and shut out of talking on campuses and shut out of the political discussion on any mainstream media source, radio, now social media, Facebook, Twitter. Like, the idea that we are able to create this conversation is what is compelling and really driving the force of the president, Q 2020 and beyond. I mean, this is not just about winning 2020 either. We're going to take this, we're going to get rid of the whole swamp.
Yeah, and Phil Collins says, trust but verify. Yeah, I mean, the things that we're talking about, I don't want you just to take Shady's word for it or my word for it or any. I really want you to go out and research it yourself. That's how I've always been. Take that time to corroborate what Q is saying and what I'm saying and what Praying Medic is saying, what Jordan, what all of us are saying, because that's how you learn. And that's one of my quotes that I've made up before the Q movement. And my quote is, the truth is learned. It's never told. So we're a cult that teaches teaches people to think for themselves, or encourage people to think for themselves. That's the most anti-cult.
It's really a bad model for a cult.
Right? It's bad. Not a good model.
Not really.
So Paige, this is 3792. Joe Ray, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Let's see, we've got a link to a Twitter post. Remember when the fake news media told you this was all in relation to a gas tax over a year ago? Sheep no more, great awakening.
There
Q.
it is. There's our cue right there. And this is it. This is massive crowds on the streets of France to protest against Macron. Tens of thousands of people are out on the street. You know, it's called the Marches of Light in every of the 10 to 15 largest cities of France. This isn't about gas tax. This isn't about anything but freedom, guys. And here it is. Let's check it out. Look at that. Look how beautiful, guys.
Wow.
We all just want our freedom, folks. It's
From
that simple. Yep.
That's it. So I worked at Oregon State University for a couple of years and talked to international students, and we had faculty from other countries. And remember, I talked about finding what we agree on across the board. People want to love and be loved. They want to be able to provide for their families, do what they want to be able to do, you know, go have some fun, roof over their head, and they want the government to stay out of their lives.
That's right. That's it.
Across the board.
If you were to be,
Across the globe.
and I've learned that there's two things that kind of, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, control people. One is fear, and the other is love. I mean, I choose love.
Me too.
I'm tired of being afraid, you know. I'm tired of being, you know, and I'm not afraid. I walk around, you know, you have a better chance of being killed and stung by a bee than being involved in an attack, a terrorist attack. So, you know, I don't walk around afraid of my own shadow. And I think a lot of people will choose love as well. I mean, it's just that simple. That's how we grow up, and that's how we talk on the streets, you know. But then you get all this fearmonger stuff going on on the fake news and in Hollywood, right?
And the device, you know, basically just weaponized divisiveness, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're using against us. They're taking the idea that we want to be united and trying to turn that on its head. And that's kind of the way that we've ended up here, you know, whether it be my parents or my parents' parents, like the generations that Washington and Jefferson and Adams, all those guys were talking about it. Like, you know, the only way you're going to keep this republic is if the public stays informed. But the moment the public becomes uninformed or propagandized, your republic is at in stark danger of being disrupted. And so part of what I think Q and the president is just simply that, a way to inform us as the people of the republic, not the swamp of the democracy, so that we can keep up with him, because he is running at a breakneck speed. And, you know, Joe, we talk about it all the time, like where would we be if we didn't have Q helping us with all of this? You know, the president's Twitter is amazing, but he can't come out and just say these things, even though he's trolling them perfectly, and he can't isolate himself from them. He has to stay in the center. And, now for all of us to be on the same page with him, and I've said it multiple times, like the pop culture, he's brought back the pop culture, and all of us that are paying attention to it, it connects back to the mid late 80s and 90s, and that whole idea where we were all on the same page. There was no war, there was no threat of war, nobody was even thinking about war. And now here we are, 2020, and we've decimated the Middle East, trillions and trillions of dollars in blood and lives lost, shredded over there for nothing. And we've got to get back to being informed. And I think this is the big first step of getting us there and together again. And people like you standing up and saying, hey, I believe in my country. I want to help protect her.
Yep. It's so true. And if we step back and and take a look. This truly is evil versus truth. It is so dark and so demonic when blowing up the Twin Towers. Oh, it's just collateral damage. Sinking the Titanic. Oh, it's just the quote unquote Titanic. It's
a love story
damage.
now, right?
it's a love story. Yeah. So it's, well, these people just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the ends justifies the means. Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And if we, whether somebody believes in God or doesn't believe, the choice for your decision is yours. We all have our own free choice, our own free will of what we want to decide. And it's important that we keep that in this country. Some countries, I believe, and I could be wrong, in the UK, where they're instituting the thought police.
Right.
But it's one of the countries, right? Well, but you thought it.
That's right, and that's what Obama was trying to do here too, as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Interesting. By the way, we have some breaking news yesterday. The Matrixxx Groove Hour had more viewers than the U.S. Senate impeachment trial.
Oh, I missed that. You cut out. What was that?
The Matrixxx Groove Hour, the show that we're on today right now, had more viewers than the U.S. Senate impeachment trial of President Donald J. Trump.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep, they had 171.
Yay.
We had 973 at the time, right? That's because of you guys right there. Thank you very much for that.
The Sham Schumer Shift Show.
I'll say that 10 times fast. And that's Crank the Crank.
I barely got that one out.
Crank the
Charade.
Crank.
Remember, he had a charade at the end. That was awesome.
Oh my God, charade. Charade. You guys just can't do it. That's a hat tip to Crank the Crank. That's VV on YouTube. He makes awesome videos. He made JT Wild's Digital Soldier video. Crank the Crank is a great patriot. This is it right here. This is the Rudy Giuliani worth following precursor. That Common Sense show, he started out with Common Sense, and that links us to the 1776 Q post. But starting tomorrow, we will begin cracking through the swamp media's cover-up of top-level Democrats selling their public office, resulting in multi-millions in Ukraine and conspired attempt with foreign officials to destroy the Trump candidacy. Now, that came on today. I watched it, so if it's on my YouTube, or excuse me, my Twitter timeline, if you guys want to check it out. Also, this is triggering a lot of people right here. Q posted the state funeral, Q. And obviously there's what it listed to. That has obviously, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's been changed to Q is a LARP. It's been changed to so it's been changed since Q dropped it. Where we go, when we go, all people did. But this is the state funeral. It's a public funeral ceremony observing the strict rules of protocol. Now, is this my opinion, right? This is Q post 39. You see the timestamp 39? Is this going to be Jimmy Carter? He was the 39th president. The timestamp is 39. And is this what they need to do to stop the impeachment? Our turn. Will there be a
Change the narrative.
state funeral? Because all business stops in the Congress, in the Senate, in the House. So is this what's going to happen? Just a question. And also, yes, Mr. Peanut.
Narrative change bad.
Mr. Peanut, right? So you got Mr. Peanut, who has a peanut farmer, right? So interesting. This is a theory, guys, right? This is just a theory, and that's a hat tip to A2K for the Mr. Peanut in L9. Thank you for that. Also, what do you think of this, guys? On April 2018, April 7th, China, Chongqing, Tuesday, and guess what? In China, Chongqing City confirms 5 new cases of the coronavirus on Tuesday. Things that just make you question and go, wow, I'm sure that's just a coincidence, right?
The new coronavirus. And somebody posted about Bill Gates
owning the patent for it.
With a patent.
Yeah. I call it the Bill and Gates of Bill and Melinda Gates of Hell Foundation is what I call it. But yeah. Also, is this a Q proof? Rudy started revealing info just after Castle Clean. So why was Preet Bharara fired? Why was the New York AG just removed? Why did Rudy recently join POTUS's legal team after being quiet for so long? What must be cleaned first? Who investigates? Who prosecutes? Investigates FBI, prosecutes DOJ. What can finally be done. Who has the ultimate authority? Bill Barr. Does it fall under the Russia recusal? Does Flynn know? Define on the record. You have more than you know. Enjoy the show, Q. I think this is a huge, huge boom, guys. Yeah.
It is. And somebody, I don't know, maybe you guys know, but I, on my way home from Coos Bay last night, was listening to Red Pill. And I think it was. Anyway, somebody, I'm pretty sure, somebody was escorted out of the White House the other day.
Yes. It was Peaks. I think his name was Peaks.
Yes.
And he was like removed from the grounds with the armed guards.
Yeah.
Very interesting, right?
So it's like, is there a connection? I don't know. I don't know what the guy did. So.
Right. Guys, this right here is Rudy Giuliani. You know, the deep state is coming. The deep state is coming, right? But we also have the YouTube video that people were asking about today. This is his podcast. I'm linking to it right now. Our connection's a little slow. It's pretty long. It's about an hour. But I want to show you how he starts it off. Let me just see. Wait 1 second. Let me just see. Yeah. He starts it off with... I think they're still waiting for him. Hang on, let me just get to the part. But it's interesting how he starts this off.
And explain by rational principles the reason why these small colonies...
Here we go. This is how he starts his podcast off right here.
Welcome to the first episode of Rudy Giuliani's Common Sense.
Common sense, guys.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained by rational principles the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal.
Hat tip to the Chans.
Freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. Today we face another time of turmoil, of anger, very serious partisan division. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. We're not a perfect country. They weren't perfect men and women, and neither are we. But they did it better than anyone else. And we have to hope we can do the same thing to keep America a leader. But
I thought that was amazing intro. You can catch that. It is on my Twitter. Mods will drop the link. But look at this post, Shady. 1776. On post 1776. And what does it say?
Yep.
Without the pen of the author of Common Sense, the sword of Washington would have been raised in vain. John Adams. Q.
Wow.
And that's post number 1776.
Yes, sir. There you have it. So, wow, Joe Ray Perkins, Senate candidate for Oregon. Wow.
Oh, exciting.
Wow. And hopefully we got you some
I'm
support.
kind of beside myself.
I know. We just went over Q Post with a new senator that's up and coming, new senator. We got to get her through the primaries and the election. But, you know, with your help, she can make it, guys. She can make being, make America great again, guys. I mean, or keep America great. And that's why we need to get MAGA candidates. And you know that people that understand Q, they are voting for Donald J. Trump. So they're basically supporting Donald J. Trump. We don't have to think, oh, is this guy just saying it because he's a rhino? He was a rhino. Now he's on board. I don't know. We know that Joe Ray Perkins is on board right now. Did I lose you guys?
I still got him.
Joe Ray? Did she leave? I can't see if she is here.
Hey, you there, Matrixxx?
I'm here.
I may have lost.
All right. So we may have lost Joe Ray, but guys, this is going to be our show.
I hear you.
There she is.
How about now?
Joe Ray, here we go. We had a little bit of a technical glitch, but
It may be on his end, Joe Ray. I'm not sure.
I can hear you guys.
Might be.
I can hear you guys.
I'm not hearing the feed anymore.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Technology.
I can
Oh,
hear
we
you.
love it. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Matrixxx, you back?
Can you hear me? I
You might
can
have
hear.
lost us completely.
How about last words? Last words. Can you hear me? I didn't lose you guys.
If you guys can still hear us, Matrixxx might have went down there a little bit.
Nope,
Trying to
you're
get over
down.
here and see where we're at.
I'm
See if we
talking.
can still hear him.
See, guys? See what they do to us? They can't hear me.
But he might have
hear.
lost us completely.
How about last
Oh, wait,
words?
there we go.
There you
oh,
go.
Wait, up.
We can hear
I
you
think
guys.
You could hear us.
Go ahead.
No, I don't
last
think you can
words.
hear us.
Last words. Shady.
I'm not sure if anybody else can hear us
All
either.
right. Okay. So I'm gonna stop it.
Okay.
Joe Ray. Last words. Joe Ray.
You. Here.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yes.
says we can hear all of us. So I don't know if I'm talking over Matrixxx or if he's out there or what's going on, but we somehow got disconnected here.
No, we're not
Much
disconnected.
love to all of you. I'm going to go for a second here, Matrixxx. Much love to everyone out there. Joe Ray Perkins, running for Senate candidate in the state of Oregon. Amazing, amazing time to be alive, guys. I would like for anyone else out there who is thinking of running for office to connect with us, and let's get some political candidates who are Q-centric or Q-oriented or understand Q to start communicating with each other. Let's create a larger network out here, guys. This is the reason that we're here. We're all politically have political thought forms for a reason. It's because we care, love our country, and we want to make America what it was intended to be by our founding fathers. I think that is the overarching goal of all of us. And thanks for taking your time to come with us today, Joe Ray. This has just really been great, and I really hope that we weren't too scary, and you'll come back and hang with us a lot more.
Oh, heavens no. No, this has been such an honor. I truly am just so humbled by what has happened and the outpouring of all of this. And, you know, when God opens up a door and you walk through it, it's a lot of fun. I'm having a blast. And just so people know, when I made the decision to switch seats, there was a lot of things, you know, what I was running for between the House and the Senate. There's a lot of things that were involved in it, and I kind of I felt like I was jumping off of a cliff. It's a big jump.
It is a big
I've lost,
jump.
114 days, I think it is, the primary. I'll have to get back on my calendar and do the countdown again, but I have a whole state to cover. I've been concentrating on 7 out of 36 counties. And so it's going to take a lot of work. And so if you live in Oregon, I need team members. I need people that can help with technology, that can help with scheduling meetings, that will do meet and greets in their neighborhoods. Invite me up, invite some friends, we'll come out up for coffee. Send an email to me, Joe Ray at Perkins for USSenate.vote. The mods, I'm sure, will put that in there. I'll post it again. But it's an honor and it's a blessing to be able to be part of this great group of people. By the way, I've got my Q pin on. You saw that yesterday, Shady?
I did.
Yeah.
She's got a Q pin.
Yeah, it's the flag with the Q on it. And
Did you
I
get
absolutely
that
love
from
it.
here?
High quality. If you guys haven't gotten one of these from the Patriots store that they post on here, that's one of their sponsors get one. They're very, very high quality, very well made. But anyway, I love it, and we have a nation to save. And just as it happened in the Revolutionary War, they had a nation to save, and we are. Yep, there's my pin. We are those people.
That's
and
awesome.
you are part of that army. And together we win. Don't let them get us down. Find out where you agree with those who don't agree with you. And let's change the narrative. I know we can do it. And I appreciate all the love and all the support, and I will be back.
Thank you, Joe Ray.
All right.
Thank you.
Well,
Can you
tell
hear me?
I don't think that we could have asked for a better guest to be here to represent what it is that Q and the president and all of us really want to say to our country. We don't want to lose our country. We want to make our country stronger, better, and more functional for everyone. We want to turn people into entrepreneurs, not people standing there with wanting handouts. That's a real
Amen
big
to
deal.
that. Yep.
So much thanks to you, Joe Ray. And Matrixxx, I still can't hear you out there, but if you're there, let's.
Yeah, man. So, guys, thank you very much. We are going to end this broadcast. Senator Joe Ray Perkins was on the Matrixxx Groove Hour today, guys. Much love to you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And our turn is tomorrow. So stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned.